Fly away to an undisclosed location.
We bleed for different things, the seeds of blossoming. We feed the hungry, donating our money. I'm like Doug Funny, hang with all colors. Every single one of these people, my brothers, sisters, and others. Not here to smother, but uncover the truth. How we're barely even educating most of our youth. Yeah, you can't dispute, but facts are facts. The tests are showing that. Talk to my people, grassroots attack. Step back, just let me rap. Give me that. This brought me head there, just to get us on track. I love y'all. Above all, we're all the same. We're equal in every grain. We share the same pain.
Land my plane in foreign lands, I have returned.
Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. This is message. Hi, Dan. All right.
Welcome to Tea Time with
Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky.
This is super recent.
Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. I missed you guys. I really did.
Away.
I don't know what was going on. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Political Tuesday with Tea Time with Bunky. I'm waiting for my guest to come in. Waiting for him to come in. But in the meantime, that song was by, I hope you heard it because I had my mic off and I hope you heard that. That was by my guest, Alphabetical MC, Mr. Rafael Alejandro. I would like to thank, he's on. I would like to thank all of my Tea Time with Bunky followers and subscribers, everybody that tuned in for Political Tuesday and will join in, let me fix this, who joins in with the conversations. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. You can find me live every Tuesday and Thursday on Facebook and YouTube. You can also catch me on the different podcast platforms except for iTunes. I had a problem. I still haven't fixed that situation, but it's all right. It's all right. And also you can find me on Zeno FM. Political Tuesdays is on all stations, which I'm going to name it at 8 a.m. Political Tuesdays, all stations at 8 a.m. on Tuesdays. Tea Time with Bunky, you can find on Thursdays at 8 a.m. on Culture Shock Radio in Canada, LLR Columbus. It's Southern Soul Gold, Rock Box Radio. Okay, this is a new radio station. I hope I don't say it wrong. Radio Ficero in Mexico, Tattoo Shop Radio, WAP the Music FM in Guadalupe. And on Sundays, you can find me at 12 p.m. on Confidence Radio. Okay, got that out the way. Political Tuesdays. There's been a lot going on, y'all. There's been a lot. But I want to make sure you guys are registered. Make sure you're registered to vote. It's important. I tell you all the time, you don't register, you have no voice. You have nothing to say. And you can't comment on anything about how anything is going because you didn't vote. You have nothing to say. Get out there and know your local candidates because they're the ones who's hitting close to home. But we're going to be talking about some stuff that's not close to me anyway. We got things with the last president. I don't even like saying his name. We got stuff with Speaker Kevin McCarthy was booted out today. That's unprecedented. We're going to talk about, because my guest is from New Jersey, we're going to talk about Senator Menendez. So without further ado, let me introduce my guest. His name, I've got to know who you're talking to. Rafael Alejandro, a.k.a. Mr. Alphabetical MC. He's an actor, ghostwriter, producer. He studied acting in Syracuse University and music industry at Monmouth University. He's a hip-hop recording artist from Hudson County, New Jersey. He's an independent rapper and singer under his own label. Lord, please don't let me butcher this. He'll say it for me. Ginebra Films and Media. I know I'm not saying that right, but hopefully I am. Alphabetical is an acronym. Yo, y'all, this is what got me. This is what got me. Because I was watching him in the studio with the Rec Boys, right? And music, I'm not really a hip hoppy music person. But when he started talking about politics, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Radar goes up. Then he says the acronym. I'll tell y'all what the acronym for alphabetical is, which is long in itself, okay? But it's always learning political hypocrisies and blatantly electing to investigate corporate American lies. Lies, he says, the lies they tell. That music was from his album Lone Wolf, and his new album Triple Threat was released on September, I believe it was 22nd, 2023. So without further ado, Mr.
Wow.
Hi!
Yo, I'm impressed by that whole introduction. Like,
Are you really?
really, yeah, that was really good. You got into everything. I don't even think I need to be here anymore.
No, yes, you do. Let me turn this phone up. I hear static. Let me see. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Wow, and you're right. There is so much to talk about.
Yeah,
I was kind of. That's why I was late. I was like trying to read up on it, making sure that I am fully informed because it's crazy the amount of stories that are out politically right now.
I'm hearing static. Do you hear the?
Oh, is that me?
No, it might be me. Wait a minute, you guys, because this right here, we are not having this situation. Let me.
Let's see. I can switch mics.
I don't know. It could. Oh, wait, look, I got so much going on.
Oh no.
Okay, wait.
You hear me now?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, it's a static. I don't know what's going on. I unplugged everything. You see?
Now?
Yeah, it's a static echo. It could be because there's keywords. You say keywords and stuff happens. It's echoey.
I was talking about my headphones on.
Now I don't even know why I can't even hear you. Can y'all hear us? Let me know what's going on. Yeah, I know it's a static, Sam. Cause I'm telling you, can you hear me? Can y'all hear me all right? I'm telling you, there's keywords. You say keywords and the internet start bugging out. No, I can't hear you. I don't know if that's me or what. Wait a second. I hear you, but it's static. No, we're not doing this today. I've been looking forward to this. You hear who clear? Me? Sam?
Yeah, I hear you.
Alpha? I don't hear you. He might need to leave stage and come back in. Okay. So you may need to leave and come back. And try that. I'm telling you, it's these key words, but we're going to have this conversation. Well, because I can't hear you. Leave and come back. Okay. But for those that don't know, like I said, we was going to talk about Senator, Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Oh my God. I was watching the news and I'm like, StreamYard could be, yeah, but Sam, but I really think it's key words. You start talking politics, little trigger words, things start happening or whatever. But apparently this thing that happened, it hasn't happened since 1855, where there was something like this, where a speaker was fired, got the boot. He was ejected, and let's see. I can't hear you. I don't know, can y'all hear him? Am I yelling? I don't know. I'm looking to see. I'm looking for them to talk back to me. I don't. Okay, it's on your end. I'm telling you, they out for you, guy. They out. They out for you. I can't. Check your mute. Check and see if you're muted. No. You got a phone? Can you go on your phone? I can't hear. Because this conversation gonna happen. You from Jersey?
Microphone testing.
Yeah, that is you. The echo and your frozen.
I have like. All right,
Oh wait,
I'm taking.
right there.
Headphones
There you go.
Is
Don't
my
use the
headphones
X.
messing it up?
There you go.
It's my
Can you hear me?
headphones. You know what? AirPod Maxes. I thought I don't want to have reverb, so I'm not trying to do this over speakers, but I guess we have to. So
It's
I'm gonna keep it
not.
low.
It sounds good actually.
Okay, cool. All right.
Now you
I'm
sound
sorry,
perfect.
everybody. I apologize. That was crazy.
No, listen. Technical difficulty. You see, I unplugged everything. It happens all the time.
Man. Okay,
Well, how
good.
are you?
No, I'm all right. I'm all right. I was just saying that it's crazy the amount of stories that are out there, and I actually had to like really make sure that I read up to the current events fully, so I'm not an idiot on this broadcast. So I was reading a lot, and then the time came, and I'm like, oh my god, I got to get online, and I missed mic check, so that's why this all happened. It's my fault.
Well, Sam said, don't use AirPods. Don't use them on StreamYard.
I guess not. You know, they worked last time, and I've been on a few shows, and they've been fine. But I'm gonna keep them over there. It's fine. No worries.
Well, as you see, tea time is different. I'm a different entity.
Oh no, yeah, no worries. Glad I'm here. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah. I don't know what topic you want to tackle first, but I have opinions.
First you're gonna tell everybody what I didn't say about you. You're gonna tell everybody.
No, honestly, that was the first thing I said was you did such a great job on the intro. You did such a good job that I almost feel like now I have nothing to say about myself anymore.
No, trust me. Do you want me to ask you questions to help you?
You covered everything. You covered my album drop. You got all the label mention. Like you did a really good job. I was impressed. I was like, yeah, Ginebra, but that's okay. Ginebra is close. Ginebra is close enough. I accept Ginebra. Okay. It's when people start switching words, like it comes out gin bar and that's what messes me up. Yeah, but we're good.
All right. So let me ask you a couple of questions before we get into all that crazy political mess. You studied acting.
No, I don't recommend it to anyone's kids. Don't do it. It's very foolish. It's a great way to waste money on tuition. No, I mean, it was my passion. It's been my passion, and I thought that it was the career that I was gonna go into, no holds barred. So I just went all out for it, and I tried to. It was Syracuse University is a conservatory, which for an actor means that it's very like hands-on. Okay. Like, thorough, and it was a great experience, and I don't have any regrets. So I enjoyed it. But I think that for the most part, don't pursue acting degrees. I think you can just go out there and be an actor. There's nothing holding you back from just getting headshots and putting yourself out there.
Okay. Well, how long did you do that?
Study acting?
Yeah. How long did you go to Syracuse University for that?
I went there for about two years, and then the winters were too much. I couldn't take it, and I just wanted to be close. Oh, it was worse than Alaska up there. It snowed all the time. Like, yeah,
Syracuse is serious.
It is really bad. They're in just a part of New York State for some reason. They get dumped on with snow, and it's just very cold. And I didn't enjoy it too much, so I just said, you know what, I want to be closer to home, so I transferred.
After all that money.
Yeah, no, believe me, my father. I'm still trying to save his bacon right now. I'm out here trying to make money for him, pay him back.
That's crazy. That's crazy, because I'm like, he went from acting to becoming a Democratic Socialist rapper. Now, when did you?
They happen simultaneously.
Okay.
And I think they did distract from each other. I'll be honest. It was very hard to stay focused because I wanted to do two things at once.
Okay.
And and you see a lot of rappers become actors and actors become musicians, and you think it's easy, but it's not. Like you really need a team behind you. And as a young kid, 18 years old, I didn't have that. Mm-hmm. That takes. I was kind of a loner, and I think that took me time to figure out. Like I need to start trusting people and bringing them into my circle.
Trust me, I understand.
Yeah.
Get it. So that hits the title, The Lone Wolf. That's why.
Yeah, exactly. The Lone Wolf has a lot to do with that. How I'm kind of just out here by myself in the music game. You know.
Now I don't know if they was able to hear because I didn't realize that after I had the mic off, there was a whole bunch going on. But I played your song "Fly Away."
Yeah. No, it's a beautiful song. I love that song.
Yeah, because because I was going through, and like I said, I'm not a hip hoppy person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like a gospel-y person. So I was going through the music. I told you I was gonna go through it. So I'm going through the music, and I'm like, no, I can't. No, I can't. And then I saw this, and it was the words. Because I'm always looking at the words. I was like, okay. It sounds like that was written. Is that written during COVID?
Yeah.
Because it sounds like it.
A few of the songs on The Lone Wolf are straight COVID songs.
Okay.
Like I talk about the pandemic specifically. One of the songs is called Quarantined.
Yep.
It's really about, you know, that cabin fever we all felt when we were stuck in our houses. So yeah, Fly Away had a little bit to do with that. It also had a short mentioning of just kind of the political dichotomy that we're living in and how we're kind of tearing ourselves apart by, you know, being so, I mean, I don't know how to say it, but we're not talking to each other. We're shutting each other out, and there's no solutions, it seems, anymore. It's just like we got two sides that are just chucking bombs over the wall.
See it today.
Yeah.
Saw that today.
Mm-hmm.
That was crazy.
Yeah, the whole speaker thing. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't know what House Democrats were thinking. I don't think they're using a lot of foresight in their decision by ousting McCarthy, because what you're basically doing is you're giving that small faction of the Republican Party, that far right, whatever it might be, those Matt Gaetz little soldiers out there.
Gaetz the second.
Right, you're giving them a voice and power in their own party that you have to worry about who the next speaker is going to be. He might even lean even more to the right, because we got to remember that Kevin McCarthy is kind of a moderate. Like he's from California. You know what I'm saying?
They should have kept. You keep the devil, you know. That's my attitude.
I mean, yeah, I don't know what they were thinking, and also I really question a lot of the decisions by Democrats, because I feel that whenever you use these political hand grenades against the other party, eventually they're going to get used on you, you know? So believe me, a House Speaker getting ousted, it might be the first time it happened in this country in history, but it's probably not going to be the last time in our lifetimes. I bet you. Yeah, it's going to happen again. Like
because it's a mess.
Yeah.
It's a whole mess. And speaking of mess, your senator, Mendez, he gave a whole new meaning to the word bars.
I mean, I've known about this guy for years. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what they say, because I haven't been in politics. I don't like politics. But as I'm watching it, and I'm like, wait a minute. He has a history of this, apparently.
Yeah, it's shameful. He's been corrupt for a long time. Anybody that's from my hood knows it. You know, we've always known it about him, and even other politicians in the Democratic Party. Because you got to understand that even though I'm very liberal myself, and I usually vote Democrat on, you know, national elections, the party here, because they have such a strong foothold, it's like a machine, you know, and the power that they consolidate here is very much like those political machines you see in Chicago. You know, New Jersey and Chicago have that in common, where their Democratic officials, you know, they have so much power that a lot of them can feel untouchable, and they do things like that. And it's disgraceful when you see politicians gaining that type of political seat in foreign affairs and then selling our interests to other governments. It's disgraceful, because where's that gold coming from? If it's coming from, let's say, Egypt, the person in power in Egypt, then it's also coming from the Egyptian people. You know, like, it's money that should be there for those poorer communities to better themselves, and instead it's being shifted between politicians that are playing with our lives like chess. And it's not just him. It's you know, I think you saw the same thing with the last administration with Jared Kushner. He was selling a lot of our interests to Saudi Arabia.
But hello, that's those people's bands.
Yep. And then it's also what they talk about with Hunter Biden, you know, like all these people are doing it on both sides.
They're privileged, feel entitled, and untouchable.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
completely.
And the fact that Menendez was actually walking around with gold bars in his pocket.
Yeah.
Like, who does that? I was like, wait a minute.
And then to bring up what his family went through, the persecution of
Don't they do that?
Cubans that were trying to leave the Castro regime, and like, you know, bringing that up. Oh, well, my family, that's what we did. We hid cash under the mattress. It's like, but my dude, you're using that as an excuse, but the truth is, we live in America. Our bank system should be solid. You shouldn't have to stress about that. You were born in New York, if I'm not mistaken, or you're not even from Cuba yourself. So, you know, you didn't live through that personally.
Right.
What your parents went through, okay, I understand, but don't use that as a crutch, because that's kind of a disrespect to what they went through.
It
You know what I'm
totally
saying?
is. It's like, I'm stealing from the people who trusted me enough to vote me in position. I'm stealing and lining my pockets, mine and my family, because his wife is up also. They got her too. You know, and then blame it on your ancestors. That's crazy, because if that's the case, Black people can say and do so much more. If we want to blame it on slavery, you know, but that's not the case. That's not the case. What made you? Because when you were on the studio with Direct Boys, you talked about. Can you hear me? Let me turn this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you were on the studio with Direct Boys, you had mentioned how, I guess, speaking on certain things, you felt like you might have had a target. It was something you were talking something about. I don't know if it was Trump. I don't know which. Oh, I said his name. I hate saying his name.
Yeah.
Being a socialist.
Oh, right.
And which I had to Google, because I really don't. I'm not into politics, but it's to create a society in which everyone has an equal share of resources and wealth, right?
And I'm going to put my own spin on that, because I think that socialism today, it scares a lot of people, especially people that vote Republican, because they're, for example, Cubans that left the situation in Cuba, because they think of communism and they think of totalitarian regimes that, you know, force you to live a certain way and take away your ability to make any type of profit for your own family. And, you know, that's not the ideal of what Marxism was supposed to be. I think that the problem with a lot of these governments that have come from Marxist ideals is that they've been rooted in corruption. I myself question whether or not we are capable as a human society of targeting some of these billionaires that have such wealth right now, and finding ways to get them to be the ones who take on the burden of the taxpayer. Because my biggest problem with this country is that the burden of the taxpayer still falls on the middle and working class. And it shouldn't be like that. We have such a wealth gap in this country now that it really should be billionaires that should be fitting the bill for a lot of this stuff, and stop coming after working class families. I'm not somebody that thinks that we should raise taxes on middle and working class people. I think they shouldn't even be paying a lot of taxes. If you don't make that much money, you shouldn't even be paying taxes. You know, like, that's my personal opinion. So I'm not a complete socialist, because I do believe in the freedom of this country. I don't want this country to be ramming any political ideology down anyone's throat. But I want poor people in this country to realize that you have a vote, and you should be voting for measures that help you in the future and help your children for the future as a working class person. Because we have a lot of scary things in the future that could affect our ability to work, and that's AI. You know, like all of these. I mean, we could be 20 years away from, you know, trucks becoming automated, and then truck drivers going out of work, and then we've got millions of truck drivers out there.
Well, buses, there's some, aren't there, like some?
Yeah, and Ubers are becoming automated. Like,
which was scary. I seen it was a commercial, and it was like an older couple. They were in a car. It wasn't Entertainment Tonight. They were in a car, and it was a hands-free, nobody in the car driving, and they were taking them from the airport, I guess, to their hotel. And the fact that these old people trusted this no driving car to take them where they want to go. No, it's like a roller coaster. If you think about it, to me, you're sitting in the seat and somebody else is controlling it. You don't know what's going to happen. I don't trust technology.
It's difficult to trust, but at the same time, these are toys. These are toys for the rich. We're talking about
toys for the rich. I mean,
yeah,
come on,
exactly.
Like to see the Titanic. Why would you do that?
Right. You know,
why are you flying to the moon? Why are you doing?
Right. And I question even a lot of democratic policies. Like, for example, they're trying to force everyone to buy an electric car. But in the meantime,
Are they?
poor people out there can't afford them. You know what I'm
I
saying?
can't afford an electric
Yeah,
car.
they're still gassing up their pickup truck to go, pick fruit with, and the price of gas is so high because of the way they tax things to try and force people to buy electric that it's hurting poor people. How can a poor person in California even afford to pay for $7 to $10 gallons of gas? It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Like we set things up in ways that aren't really helping people that need it, and I question a lot of what the government does. So I'm not someone that's pro big government. I'm actually someone that's pro government, like keeping an eye on them and keeping them in check, because they're supposed to be there to help us, not hinder us.
Now I'm hearing you talk about Democrat a lot.
Right.
So which way do you lean more towards? See,
I lean more towards Democrat because of social issues.
Okay.
So like I'm pro gay marriage, I'm pro choice. So like I feel that people, like for example, gay, trans people, like let them live their lives. Like they don't affect your life. Like why
Like that's
right?
my
Like why are you
attitude.
hating on them so much? These are just people that they could be your son or daughter one day, and you should love them equally.
Right. Or they could be not even someday. They could be your son and daughter right now, and they're hiding from you because they're afraid of your issues and your beliefs.
Right.
Which is bananas. I'm one of those people like you. I'm registered Democrat, but I vote for. Well, when I was younger, I would always just vote Democrat down the board. Boom, boom,
I'm
boom.
actually registered independent, just because in New Jersey, when you register independent, you can vote in both Republican and Democratic caucuses, and I like having that freedom. So I'm actually a registered independent. I usually vote Democrat because I rarely have I ever seen a Republican that represents what I want to see for this country.
But with the being independent, you don't get to vote in the the one where they choose.
Yeah, the primaries. Yeah, in New Jersey, you can. You can.
See, I don't know
vote
how
in
that
both.
is in New York, but I totally vote for whoever speaks to me.
Right.
Whatever party, whoever's up there, and you're saying what I want to hear, I'm gonna vote for you. I have my vote. So I'm not totally Democrat like I used to be, but I'm telling you now, looking at these Republicans now, the way they get down on a local level. Oh, I'm talking about where I live. I live in New York, Sullivan County.
Okay.
And their behaviors, right? Doesn't matter how nice you are or whatever. Once you're in office or whatever, I'm watching their behaviors mirror that of Washington, and I don't like it. So I'm like, I can't get that because it's like you're all out for the rich. It's like the rich trying to get richer, and people are changing their thoughts and the way that they do things or whatever just to fit into that good old boys club. Like that's what it is here. I'm in the rough.
Well, I think Republican Party's always represented the rich. Like they exploit poor white people with their vote, but it's a shame that we can't get poor white people in this country to come on the side of the people and try to do something to help all impoverished people. It's a shame that race has to come into a lot of these conversations, but they force it because they know it divides us, and they like to force that conversation on us. If we just talked about poverty by the numbers instead of by the appearance of people, we would get a lot further.
A lot further.
Yeah.
A lot. And they don't get that. They don't get that. Because at the end of the day, that former president does not care about them. He really doesn't. And
no, he carpetbagged them straight up. Like he carpetbagged the South. You know that term, carpetbagger? No. That was a term from the Civil War that they used for Southern people would refer to during Reconstruction after the Civil War ended. There were a lot of Northern businessmen that came down to the South and set up businesses there. And then just took over the industries of the South. So Southerners looked at those Northerners as like, oh, those carpetbaggers, And to me, like, we got to remember, Donald Trump's from New York.
He's from New York. Well,
like,
you know what? All of his
letting this New Yorker come through and lead your whole fucking Southern brigade, like, it doesn't even make sense.
No. He's getting ready to lose everything in New York. He just got a gag order put on him. He's a hot mess.
He's like Menendez. He's a guy that we've known is corrupt for decades.
Us Northerners, New York, New Jersey, tri-state area. The tri-state area. We knew what he was all about. But yet he's still like top contender.
because his people
brainwashed.
follow him blindly. I
They
mean,
follow him blindly.
it doesn't matter what he does. It's all about what he says, and that's all they care about. And
Yeah.
I just think that there's people that love him just because he's a troll, just for that reason, just because he's a troll.
He is hard. He is the absolute worst thing that ever happened to America.
Well, you know what? My mother and I were talking about this the other day, and we got to give him credit on this.
Yeah,
the man is the greatest con man in the history of America. Like, to rise up to the presidency.
Yeah, that's a fact.
On businesses built on fraud. Like, wow, like what a con artist. Yeah, I got to give it to him there.
Yeah, well, I'm not bashing us New Yorkers, but he's a New Yorker, so he's really good at what he does. Oh my Lord, I can't stand that man. Okay, but anyway, okay, so now we got that out.
Well, can I just say though, it would be nice because like we have a political election coming up that nobody really wants. I think if you ask most of the country, most of us don't like Biden and Trump. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and they've been doing this to us every 4 years. They give us these two terrible choices, and I just wish that we had other options. Like I am somebody that really promotes. I know they kind of kill elections in a lot of ways, but I promote other parties because it would be nice if we had other parties to step up.
Yeah, other choices. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for example, the Green Party could be a much more progressive wing of the Democratic Party. That maybe they could be some, people that advance environmental
standards and
progressive,
like
whatever. And then the Libertarians, I think they could be an alternative to the Republicans, because if the Republicans are going to let their party get hijacked by these extremists, then maybe they should look for an alternative party to set themselves a new shop, because it's crazy what's going on there. And the speakership is an example of it. They're eating their own right now.
They're eating their own. Oh, that's deep. They don't get it. I don't think they get it. They're just going along with it. The ugliness. I think they're afraid of change. You're right. We got two people. Well, not two, but really there's just two. You're looking at Biden and Trump. Nobody really wants either of them,
right?
Which is the lesser of two evils.
Right.
What that Trump did was he did bring the racism and stuff to the forefront. He allowed people to be their ugly selves. That's one thing I can give him. Now you don't, you know what's in front of you instead of what's behind you. They're not creeping up behind you. The vultures creeping up behind you. You see them coming straight ahead. So that's the only thing I give him credit for, because I don't rock with him. You have Biden, who he don't look too stable to me. Like, I'm like, this dude look like he's gonna go out at any second.
And his son is a distraction on top of it. Like his, and I mean, look at, for example, the one of the crazy Republican congresswomen said that she's not going to support the next Speaker of the House unless he brings the vote of impeachment to the table. And like we're seeing so many impeachments now in our lifetime that it's crazy. That's why I think this isn't the last time we're seeing a Speaker of the House being ousted, because we've seen three impeachments, because Trump had two of them, but we've seen 3 impeachments in our lifetime, which before the 90s never freaking happened. It never happened. It's crazy.
But we're living in a crazy world. Right.
It's like both sides are just out to kill each other. They're not out to help people. They're not out to help the common American. They're out there to kill each other.
Because if they were, there would be no such thing as the government shutting down.
Yeah.
Why would the government shut down? So you're going to have people who work for federal government, the regular people who works for the federal government have to go to work and won't get a paycheck to support their family because y'all acting crazy. Y'all acting like kids at the playground. That's really how they acted. It's disgusting. Like, but if people don't get out there and vote, you got to get out there and vote, because y'all are voting. Well, know your candidate, because y'all are voting these people in. Nobody knows anybody's backgrounds, So it's on the people. It's the people's fault. It's on the people.
Sorry about my dog. No, it's true, and
everybody
I think
has a dog appearance.
Local elections are the most important, because
the most important.
Your city council members will affect your day-to-day life more than the president.
And this is November 7th, y'all. And I keep saying it, November 7th, local elections, but the week prior is early elections. Early voting. I always vote early voting. I always do that so I can get it out the way, so there's no excuse. or whatever. And I get out there and I know who I want to vote for by the time I get out there. Why? Because I do my homework on the
Yeah.
local candidates. You know,
You have to.
you have to. And I had one on last week. I've given the platform. I'm like, whoever wants to come on, reach out to me because I want to have the conversation. Let me know about you.
Well,
Like,
you know what I'd love to hear from a politician is to just someone to come up and say, my opinions don't really matter. I want my voters to be educated enough to tell me what they want, so that when the votes come on this issue, I know that, okay, the majority of my constituency wants me to do this.
uh-huh.
Because that is really what a politician is supposed to do. They're supposed to represent us and our opinions and needs, and they're not. They're just pushing their own agenda and forcing their agenda down our throats with all this propaganda that we read on our feeds every day on social media.
Distractions. Yeah.
Like we've lost a real essential key of democracy, which is the fact that these people are there as representatives.
Yes,
they're supposed
they
to
are.
represent us, and
Yeah.
if they're not representing you, that's a major problem that we have to change, because they're representing lobbyists. They're not like representing people. Let's be honest.
No, well, we know that, and
Yeah, it's all
everybody.
about who's giving them the gold bars. That's all they care about.
That's it. And speaking of bars, what made you want to start putting it in your music? What made you feel comfortable? Because some people shy away from it. All they want to talk about is violence and drug use and
Yeah.
all that. But you took it political.
I will say this. I don't dive fully head in
right, because you got
like
to
a
be
Dead
careful.
Prez.
Uh-huh.
Like Dead Prez is one of my favorite artists, and they dive head in. Like every single song that they put out has some type of positive message or conscious thought behind it, political message behind it. I kind of sprinkle them in.
Okay.
I drop large album projects, and I don't want to be too preachy on people, especially these days. I feel like people are very sensitive about being preached to,
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
yes,
So
they are.
I'm really just trying to give them a good chunk of what they want and expect from hip hop, while blending in messages that I hope can bring about some type of positive change. One of the songs on my last album is an anti-war song. I wrote it after Russia invaded Ukraine. And I just feel like, we're kind of at this point, like as human beings, have we not progressed to the point that we realize that war is just really the rich exploiting the poor? That's all it comes down to. It's rich oligarchs in Russia who support Putin that are trying to push their agenda to take over Ukrainian resources and other resources. People act like it's about politics. It's about money. It's always about money.
I was gonna say, isn't it always about money?
Yeah, and and now this war is about money. If you look at, we just one of the biggest things about this, Kevin McCarthy being ousted, when they did pass that budget, they took Ukrainian funding out of the budget, and now I think we're kind of, we're in a position where Ukraine is looking at us like, are you really going to back out on us now? And it's an unfortunate situation, because it's very easy to politically tell the American people, we got to solve our own problems. Why are we sending money to these people by the billions when we have our own issues? That's a real easy thing to say.
I say that sometimes, but I understand having to help your brother, having to help people that can't help themselves. They don't have the resources that America does.
And also, they're also one country buffering us from NATO, which is like, if Putin takes over Ukraine and then decides, I'm going to take it one step further, it's world war. It's at that point, it's written in the bylaws that we have to come and support NATO nations. If we don't, then NATO's bullshit, and we look like liars who you know what I'm saying, betrayed our allies. So it's a scary situation, and it has to be contained. I really do feel for Ukrainian people. I've actually traveled a lot to Eastern Europe before COVID, and the whole region, I see a lot there with Latinos that we have in common, because Latinos are, our nations in Latin America, we're very much caught in that Cold War struggle between US and Russia, and each superpower putting up their dictator, and then those dictators turning guns on their own people and hurting their own people. It happened all throughout Latin America. It happened all throughout Eastern Europe, and we're seeing history repeat itself with Ukraine right now. I mean, we're basically creating another war zone, just like we did in Syria, just like we did in Afghanistan. Like, we don't stop creating war zones. Why? Like, look at the shitty situation we've created for the world. We have so many refugees and people out there seeking asylum now. Why? Because we created this world. Where we're out there fighting for oil and fighting for lithium and fighting for all these resources, and using poor people as the fodder to be blown up and shot. I think it's disgraceful, and anyone who supports that type of fascism, I see that as fascism, forcing people to go to war. I'm so against it, and it's one of the biggest things of why I became a political rapper, just to bring it back to the question. When we attacked Afghanistan and Iraq, I was against that too, because I don't see how you can attack an entire country and cause a war there based on something that a few extremists did.
Right.
And the extremists that did it, a lot of them were Saudi Arabian. It didn't even make sense. Like, it really didn't make sense.
That was personal. That was a personal thing.
It was a personal Bush-driven war.
It was. That was personal. Yeah.
And
nothing to do with
And you know what? I honestly believe that it led to our opioid epidemic that we have right now, because when we went to Afghanistan, it's not oil fields that a lot of those soldiers were guarding and protecting. It was actually poppy fields for drug lords over there. And then all of a sudden we got heroin and OxyContin and all these, drugs being poured into our country. Why? Because they're coming on military flights, like
I think I saw that on Netflix.
Yeah. No, it's definitely happened.
On that.
I spoke personally with veterans. I speak to veterans a lot. I support the USO, because to me, it's not the soldiers' fault of what
they're just doing their job. They're just doing their orders.
And a lot of them were telling me, coming back from Afghanistan, it's like, yeah, all I did was guard poppy fields the whole time. I'm like, really? Like, that's our priority over there? What kind of fucking war is that?
Well, no, it's financial.
Yeah.
Financial gain. It's all about the dollar. I mean, how much money does a person need? If you ask the question, how much money does a person need?
I mean, you know what? They're billionaire. You know what's crazy? I was on Clubhouse a lot during the pandemic, and there was a lot of people on Clubhouse that were claiming to be elites and all that, and billionaires, whatever. A lot of them were coming on there and talking about universal income for Americans. Like, maybe we're at this point that, I think the billionaires are scared of Americans revolting against the powers that be, because they are actually talking about, like, asking people, like, what do you need to get by in life monthly? Like, what's a good amount of money for you to have, for you to shut the fuck up, basically. Like, that's where they're at. Like, they really want us to
so they want us to
they want us to binge our Netflix and play our video games and eat our little, processed
sit down
foods
and be quiet. Yeah, just stop complaining. Here's a couple of dollars.
Yeah, here's a few thousand a week. Yeah, let us do what we're doing and shut up, and just you don't need a job anymore. Like, because that is where we're headed. Like, if they're gonna automate everything, then we're gonna have a whole bunch of working class people that don't have jobs. And if Bill Gates is going to go buy up all the farmland, then we're going to have a whole bunch of farmers that don't have crops that they want to
buying up farmland.
Yeah, like there's these billionaires are out of control right now. But and it's not just like one or two, it's all of them. Elon Musk. I mean, if you look at Jeff Bezos, the way Amazon has killed small business across the country.
Yeah, it has. And I'm sorry, but I support Amazon.
We all do. I think we're all Prime members, unfortunately, because you're forced to. We
are, because we like being able to shop and get our stuff in 2 days. But COVID has messed us up. It really has. Like, we're so used to sitting home, shopping online, doing the groceries online, everything online. We don't have to leave the comforts of our home. We can work from home in our pajamas. Yeah, it's made us lazy. It really has.
I think we were already headed down that path, and it definitely accelerated it. No doubt. But it's changed the way people's lifestyles are. I mean, commercial real estate. Like no one's even going to offices anymore. So
No.
like commercial real estate's
No.
dive bombed.
Yeah.
But I wonder about the future of the American worker. I really do. You see people's striking not only or picketing not only in the American auto world in Detroit, but also in the acting world in
Yes.
LA.
Yeah.
Like you've got people picketing because they're scared of the future. They're scared of automation taking away their ability to work.
That was something that was in their agreement. They mentioned AI, which I wouldn't have never thought I would have lived to see this day.
Yeah.
Really. I'm like this. It reminds me of the Jetsons, the cartoon, the Jetsons. I don't know if you're that old, you know what the Jetsons were?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so like everything. Inspector Gadget, the stuff you saw in Inspector Gadget, I never thought that I would live to see what we're seeing come to fruition today. But it's because the rich people, the millionaires invested in these things, trying to sell it off or making it us need it. When I say us, I mean somebody like me. Like I need my watch. Like I'm like addicted to my Apple Watch. These are things that I need. We all need now our cell phones.
Right.
I don't remember anybody's phone number. Back in the day, I knew everybody's phone number. Now I can't even tell you my son's number by heart. So it's making us all dependent on devices which come from the rich in the politicians' pockets. And it's like that's all of this is where I live. I see my community is down there too in Monmouth County because I've seen it because I go down there. My dad lives down there. The housing, there's a certain community. I'm not going to get into it. There's a certain community that we would see every now and again, especially around summertime. They would come up and visit during the summer. Certain community, and only during the summertime they would come up and visit. Get out of the city. Now basically the whole county is filled with this population. Tore down all the trees. Where I live was the place where everybody came for vacations. Sullivan County, the Catskills, Sullivan County, where all the vacation hotels, everything were. The trees are all torn down, and you see that. I'm going to say it because you see it there. The Lord, and it's not the Hasidic community, like the Hasidic community.
Yeah. I had a feeling that.
Yeah, it's
that was
totally.
They're all over the Jersey Shore. Is that what you're talking about, Monmouth County?
Monmouth, yeah. So where I am, I believe is worse.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, and again, this is the pandemic.
And the politicians, like you hear about elections, and I watch how they move the politicians, and they own them basically. It's like they're in their pockets, and so it's who they tell you to vote for. That's who they're voting for. They have group block phone calls. I heard text messages as they reach out to people. I've seen elections where a certain group would have won the election, but then at the end, when they do those absentee voter counts after the fact, a large number comes in and puts the person who's connected to them into office. Is all corrupt. Is all corrupt. And this is with the local. We're talking local. I'm not even talking about the Trumps and all of them. I'm talking about knowing your local politicians or whatever. And we got totally just on the politics side of it and not the music side.
No, that's okay.
But we want to promote your music. The Lone Wolf has 26 songs. 26.
Actually, 26 tracks. There's a hidden song on the last one. 27 songs, but
it's a hidden.
My name is Alphabetical, so I do the A through Z. Each track is A through Z, basically. And
really,
yeah. And I know we live in a time now where people are more about individual songs rather than album projects. But I come from a different era, so I still like doing albums, and that's why I do it this way. Like it's a nice. I call it like a movie. It's like an hour, 20 minutes of of listening to an audio movie, like an action-packed movie.
Now, when did you start like really taking this serious though?
You know what? A lot of it was the pandemic. when I was younger, I think I was I'll be honest with you, my head wasn't fully there. I was immature. I was suffering through some mental things that just kept me from pursuing my dreams.
Mhm.
I got a regular 9 to 5 job, just feeling it like it was out of necessity. I needed one. I did that, worked in marketing for a while, but the void that was left of not pursuing my artistic dreams, which is
Mhm.
always what has driven me and passionately, that just kind of festered within me, came to the point that when the pandemic hit, it was kind of like a midlife crisis. I'm like looking at myself like, wow,
Do that.
you're in your late 30s, like you've never pursued your dream fully. You gave it all up 12 years ago. Now you have the capability. You've built a business, you have income now that can now be brought towards music.
Mhm.
Why don't you just start doing it? And I started self-producing from there, and I'm really happy with it. At least I tried.
Right.
Yeah, like it doesn't really matter. It's funny. We live in this a different era of music now. No one's really cares about record deals anymore.
No.
The, the music
Go online.
industry, the music
Stream.
industry is like a corrupt ass machine you don't even want to step into.
That's what I
So
heard.
yeah, so if you can stay independent, do it. I
Mhm.
really I recommend it to people because I'm small time. I'm not gonna lie, but
Mhm.
I do connect with some of my fans that are out there. I talk to them through Instagram, and it's just cool to know that some of my songs are reaching this person in Brazil and this person in Turkey, and
Mhm.
if it's a little bit at a time, I'm
Right.
cool with that because it's all about planting seeds. It's not about
That's a fact.
cultivating the harvest all the time.
Right. Slow and steady.
Yep.
Slow and steady. So you haven't been totally engulfed in it for a very long time.
No, only
And
like
you're
3 years.
young. You're talking about my late 30s. What? I didn't find myself until I was 50. It's like,
Yeah, because we know.
what?
I think we have this view of the music industry as being very superficial and
Mhm.
like if you're not 20 and beautiful, like you got no shot.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So,
absolutely.
so I
I,
think I was more worried about ageism a couple of years back when I started.
uh-huh.
Now that I'm like fully into it,
Mhm.
what have we got? Like 55 songs that I've dropped or something like that in 3 years. Like
That's a lot.
yeah, and I feel like it's like I'm proud of it.
And
It's
it
it's
catch
good.
somebody because you
Yeah.
got that. Well, people, I'm sure the other artists back in the day, like the Tupacs and all them, had all of that, but it was just bolted. They just didn't release it. So yeah, people write all those songs stuff. They just didn't drop it all at the same time because it was different
Yeah.
time. You know,
And you learn, like I'm learning, like for example, I have to stop dropping 26 song albums just like that because that's not the way the music industry themselves do it. They
mhm,
take the waterfall approach where they'll drop a single and then they'll drop another single, then they'll drop an LP and then they'll drop another single and then the album drops because then all that hype that you built with those singles pushes to the album. All the
right,
streams that you accumulated also push to the album.
right,
So, it's something that you learn while you go, like, okay, I have to start emulating the way the music industry does certain things because I'm not playing with their budget.
right,
I don't have millions of dollars to throw at marketing blindly.
mhm,
I have
right,
to be tactful about it. And, to me, that I have to be in this independent music business. Releases are very important. If you're constantly releasing music, your fan base is reassured that you are in it to win it. You're
yeah,
you're
you're not
you're
going
fully
anywhere.
committed. You're not
Right,
going anywhere. You're not disappearing. And
right,
like I think fans kind of have that fear with independent artists. It's like, all right, I'm supporting him now, but 2-3 years ago, 2-3 years from now, he could be scrubbing floors, because
mhm,
he lost the hope.
right.
It's like you have to keep going in this thing, even though you might be losing money, just because in the end, if you care about the messages that you're bringing, then that's all
That's a
that
fact.
matters.
That's a fact. So you
Yeah,
have the passion behind it.
yeah,
This is your
definitely.
passion. And it's
If
it's
it-
like podcasting. It's like this because there are times when you feel, maybe I'm tired now, but you have people that look forward to your message
yeah,
and think like, what are they going to bring today? Like, let
mhm,
me, So it's like it's the passion, and you got it a little bit older. You're still young, but you got it a little bit older, so
yeah,
you really caring. You're not an 18-year-old whose mind is all over the place. You
yeah.
understand what it takes, the dedication, the consistency. You get it.
And
So
I think originality these days, people are
yeah,
starving for originality.
because
You know,
everybody
like
sound the same. Oh,
yeah, everyone's. You know, and I think that the reason why, and who even knows how original I am, because I'm almost like a time capsule rapper that came out of the 2000s, and now I'm here bringing my almost 2000y vibe to the everything.
mhm.
And you know, I have that sound, and now people today are like, oh wow, that's different, or wow, that reminds me of years ago. And that's great, but it's just like that's what I'm hoping to bring, because I don't want to be somebody that drops 26 trap songs or 26 drill songs and sounds like everyone else. I don't use very much auto tune.
Mhm.
I think that's been overdone for like 20 years now.
Totally, that
So
robotic sound, right?
yeah, you know, I just feel that it takes away from your live performance, because if you're going live and you don't sound like your record, it's going to be obvious. You know,
Yeah.
you can't sing like that into a microphone. You
No.
know, so you should try to aim for live performance quality, because that's really what's going to get you paid, and that's really what's going to connect you to fans, the stage experience.
Right.
You know, and I think that because anyone these days can cut an album, it's so easy, it's
I
so
can cut an
cost
album,
effective.
and then they'll
Right.
hear me in real life, be like, "What?"
Right. But how many people can get in a room that's packed to the gills and then perform with energy and get that
Exactly.
crowd moving? That's what's
Right.
going to separate that 1% of artists, you know?
Yes. And okay, so okay, I hear you. I hear you. And everybody's not going to sit and listen to, like, I went through the music,
Hmm.
and like I said, there's because I'm just different, you know. I'd be like, oh, like, all right, I can't
Hmm.
listen to
Hmm.
that, you know. But I went through it, and that song, I like the words to it, so I actually bought it. I mean,
Fire
like,
away.
I could have streamed it, you
Yeah.
know. But I'm like, no, let me
Thank you.
support. You know, it's
No,
like,
that means a lot.
yeah, it's
You
like,
don't,
I
not
like
many
saying,
people do that anymore. So yeah.
no, they don't. But that's the
Yeah.
point of you putting it on these platforms, iTunes and stuff. So,
No,
oh
yeah, and
yes,
it,
we
it,
do
it
that.
pays us out so much better than streaming. It really does. When you
Yeah.
buy a song, like it pays us out so much better than streaming.
Oh,
It's a
yeah. Like,
great thing.
that's what people got to do. You got to say,
You're
everybody.
seeing a lot of artists now actually take their music off of streaming, and now they're kind of forcing you to go on their website and buy the tracks. That's what a lot of artists are doing. I'm not gonna do it just because I need to put my stuff out there anywhere it can be. But
Uh-huh.
I think a lot of artists are taking that approach now, where they're just trying to take control of the dollar by making their music exclusive to their own website that they control.
Right. Because I mean, you hear your music all over the place and you're not getting paid. Like, wait a
Hmm.
minute, that song, you know. So no, I get it. You know,
Yeah.
and I'm a strong believer in if you're gonna have somebody on, like if I have like a you on, or like I had Play Simone, I had like Miss Tiffany, Better the producer, people like that, they'll send me MP3 of
Hmm.
it, but I would always go to iTunes or wherever and I would purchase the song
That's awesome.
because it's like to support,
Yeah.
you know, that's how you got to do it. I got to look out for each
No,
other.
let me tell you, I have listeners on Spotify by the tens of thousands. I've got followers, but people that actually purchase my songs, like it's like
Mhm.
a single digit of amount of people, and like God
Everybody
bless,
wants something
like
for
thank
free.
you. Yeah,
Everybody wants something for free. So they to his fans, stop playing and go out there. You say you support them, go out there and buy it because it's not expensive. The whole album, you know,
no,
it's just
no,
not my. I'm a church and not. See, here I go. I'm not churchy,
no.
but I'm
My
not.
Lone Wolf was very dirty. I'll
Yeah,
admit it. Like
there was a
yeah,
whole bunch of E's down.
yeah,
And
it's very
this is
explicit
I'm like,
album. Triple Agent is less so. I've actually the reason why I made Triple Agent less explicit,
okay,
the subject matter is very adult, but
okay,
I stopped cursing as much just because I wanted to be a little bit more radio friendly. I thought
okay, yeah,
it
because
would
it's
help
like,
me.
oh
It
God.
would help me on radio runs if I don't have to do a radio edit of every song, you know.
Oh, okay, well that's good. Trial and error, you learn,
Well,
right?
yeah, and also, yeah, I think it also helps to realize that because I think in rap we kind of use these curses as crutches to help us
Yeah,
through the rhythm.
stop
Because
doing that. Yeah.
the F word it's just such a fun word to say,
Is
and
it?
then if you blend it in, like it can make the rhythm of something sound better. But you don't want to use those crutches, because
No,
then you start to take away from maybe your message, by
totally.
focusing too much on being explicit.
Because you'll have somebody like me who doesn't listen to it,
Yeah,
but your message will catch me. But
right.
I'll never get to your message because there's just so much cursing. I'm like, oh my God, I
Yeah,
can't. And
yeah,
that's me. I'm like, I can't, you know. So
yeah. No,
you want to
I
reach
hear that.
more people like me. You want to reach me. So Like they may not listen to this, but she's going to hear my message,
Mm-hmm.
and I love it.
Yeah, and I think that hip hop, you're finding more of a commercial appeal now of just people that want to hear non-gangsta music,
Yes.
the hip hop. You're seeing that now.
Yeah.
You know, I see so much hip hop in jingles now. Like you could probably make good money writing corny jingles for commercials these days for people, but it's different. Like I mean, my local state paper, the Star Ledger, I think it was, they did a feature on a rapper. It's like you'd never see that
Right.
20, 30 years ago. You know,
Who would
you'd
have
never
thought
see
it?
them featuring a rapper. You know,
No.
like luckily things are more mainstream. That's really cool.
Mhm.
But what I'd like to see is, now that people are getting that platform, is, you know, let's do some positive things with it. For example, my music, yeah, it can be gangsta at times. It can be explicit. A lot of that is done to
But not
gain.
all.
It's just to gain the common rap fan, you know.
Right.
But I think when I have that attention, hopefully I'm able to deliver more messages to that fan, because a lot of them need it, you know.
Yeah,
Like
they do. Because
all the gangster rap, like as soon as you get the audience, if you change it and then you're like, hey, listen, let's stop shooting each other at the end.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? If you release a song that says, let's stop shooting each other, that can be fucking powerful. It
Oh,
could be,
F word.
you
Yeah.
know? Oh, sorry.
You and that.
To put emphasis on the power. That's what I
Right.
wanted.
Right. I'm so corny. Okay, but that's just me. But no, you're right. A lot of them need to start hearing about like the mental illness and the
Yeah.
all that, and the rapper. I don't know if it was during COVID or whatever. I would have never watched this guy or listened to this guy because he looked crazy to me. I would have never watched him. But I was flipping through Netflix, and the one on Triple X Extension X.
Oh, yeah.
I watched his life, the documentary on his life,
Mm-hmm.
and was drawn in because I'm like, yo, there was so much more to him. Like there was so much more to him. And that guy, the baby, I think I wouldn't listen to these, but I saw the documentaries on their lives, and like some of the things, some of the raps they would do, it had a message to it, and I'm like, why can't they just get to that? Why they got to do all the extra that somebody like me would turn away from? I wouldn't even remember Triple X Extension, whatever. I wouldn't even know his name if I didn't see his documentary and saw his life. Like, keep it, like, people want realness now. People don't want all that extra stuff. Like, get out of here.
I think there's an oversaturation of the extra stuff. Like people want different, you know.
Yeah, it is.
So, and I think also that it would be nice to see the successful rappers out there do things for their communities. I love seeing that. I love it when they give back.
Yes.
I feel like a lot of that is unheralded. You hear so much about athletes when they do things for the community, they get great praise for it. But I don't really see that much for rappers. When a rapper's doing something for his community, I don't really see the press that much.
They do a lot.
They do, and they deserve better PR for that. I feel, you know.
Okay. Well, our time is up, sir.
All right.
We went over a little bit because we had technical difficulties, which was
I know. I'm sorry. That's my fault.
No, I really thought it was me because I always have issues sometimes. But I was like, no, we having this conversation this night. I'm like, no, I wanted to have.
No, it was the whole Kevin McCarthy thing. I had to read up fully on it just because, like, I have my opinion on it. And my opinion was really to criticize the Democrats because I just feel like, man, what the fuck were they thinking?
Not that.
You know, like the guy made the compromise with you to get the government funded, and now you're gonna boot him out and help the extremists from the Republican Party.
They don't think. People don't think, and they need to do better. And people need to get out there. So you can tell your fans out there, get out there, make sure, hurry up and register if you're not registered.
No, registering to vote is important. I have, you know what? I have a certificate somewhere. I got a certificate from Monmouth University because I did a huge voting drive there. And I got a whole bunch. It was like a record of registered voters I got for I think it was when Bush was against Kerry, that whole situation.
Oh, wow.
But I was motivated by the war. I wanted to make sure that people voted and hopefully got us out of those war situations. It didn't happen, but I'm proud of the work there. And yeah, it's important to keep voting.
Yeah.
Like,
and no matter how bad it looks or feels.
And also run, like go run for office. If you really are motivated to make change for the better, go do it. And don't do it for the money. Don't do it for the salary. Don't do it for the gold bars. Do it for the people.
Yeah, you said the
Yeah.
gold bars.
Yeah.
Yes, you're absolutely right. And I know somebody who's coming on Tea Time who's running just for that reason.
Good.
Just for that reason, because she saw that there needed to be a change, and she was like, you know what? Who better than me? Hello, that's the way you do it, and I love it. Would you ever consider running?
I would, but I think that New Jersey is such a, I mean, it's such a, like I said, it's a machine out here, and I don't feel like I'm one of the boys in the Democratic Party here. I criticize them a lot too, just because they run things out here, and I question a lot of what they do positively here. So I don't think the party would accept me, but I would love to run as a third party candidate and stir things up, maybe.
Yeah, just do it. Why not? You just need a certain amount of signatures, and why not put yourself on the ballot? That's what
like,
people do.
the Bernie Sanders, like he was independent, like you never know, you could get it done.
I don't know why Bernie didn't win. Bernie is the man. Shout out to Bernie Sanders. He needs to run. He needs to run.
Yeah,
he's so old. They're so old. They need.
We need younger blood all around.
Yes, we do, because they're out of control. These creep peepers.
We'll see if people like AOC start running for president one day. I don't know, but
I don't know. She got a lot against her. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But I feel that Trump, if I could just say real quick, he was a populist, and why? Like, he was a billionaire. He's an elitist. There was no reason for him to run on the populist ticket. Anyone who bought from the idea that he's going to help the common man bought the grift, basically. So what we need are outsiders that are real outsiders, that come from the working and middle classes, that are not trust fund babies. We need people that come from the bottom and want to help those that that fought with them that whole way. This is for each other, like, all communities across the globe. Like, for example, the farming communities that felt like they were abandoned in the 2008 crisis, and all those families that lost land to banks. We need to help them too. We need to help those farmers. They're the backbone of America.
They really are. They really are. How couldn't you help them? I don't. That's crazy.
So you're willing to bail out Wall Street, but you're not willing to bail out a farmer. Like, you got to help out poor people all across the country. Even
and there
though
really isn't a middle class anymore. Not like it used to be. It's not a middle class anymore. You either got the rich or the struggling. That's what it seemed like, the rich or you're struggling.
I'd say the middle class is probably the people that are struggling in cities. Like they make decent salaries, but they're not quite cutting it in terms of the cost of living.
Right, in the cities.
Yeah, like the middle class has no savings. I think that's the biggest thing now. Like, there's no savings left for these poor people.
Because you're trying to survive, because everything keeps going up. Everything keeps going up. So, all right. So we're going to end this. We're going to end this now. It was great talking to you.
Yeah,
I hope you enjoyed yourself.
Yeah, I did. I'm glad. I was looking forward to this because it wasn't purely about music. That's not me, but I found you off the musical platform, and I appreciate them. Cool. And listen, if you haven't subscribed to Tea Time with Bunky yet, you ought to subscribe, because I have different, not just the political. That's Tuesday. That's just until December. This is just until December, but regular Tea Time. We have some serious, crazy conversations on that show. So you see how I am. You got it. So imagine it on Tea Time. So we're talking about something I like. All right. So everybody go, and you can find his music on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Bandcamp, SoundCloud, and iTunes. This is his website, alphabeticalbandcamp.com, album The Lone Wolf. And you can find him on Instagram, Alphabetical MC. So you go and you can find all his music and look and listen to it, and then go back if you like it and buy it. Don't just stream it, support him. 55 songs available, and I have a lot more just sitting on the back burner. I'm sitting on like 75 songs, so I'm gonna be releasing a lot.
Yeah, so slowly release them, because I heard Chris and them tell you that, and I'm like, I don't know about music, but I know they know what they're talking about.
Yeah, no, that's the plan for the future. I'm gonna slow them out, but
a little at a time, time. So you guys have a great night. I appreciate you so much. Tune in Thursday. Tune in Thursday, Tea Time with Bunky, same time, 7 p.m., where I have events by Kim Ray. She's they are party planners, decorators. They did my 50th, 53rd all-white birthday sneaker ball bash. Amazing. So they'll be on. They're coming out of North Carolina, and we're going to talk about that. Yeah. So I appreciate you. And next week, Political Tuesday. Oh, God. She's an activist. She's coming out of South Carolina. She a true ally for Black Lives Matter. And not just Black Lives Matter, but for the African Americans down there. She is fighting hard against the women that banning the books. You know, the moms that are banning books and stuff down south. Allison McCarthy. She is no joke. She'll be on next week. So that's going to be good. That's next Tuesday. So I appreciate you guys. Tell a friend, like, share, follow, and subscribe. You guys have a great, great night. I'll see you on Tuesday.